Hello, everybody, and we are at another Oscar prediction video. And today we are going to be looking at Best Production Design. Now, of all the categories this year, I think this is one of the easiest ones to call. I think the frontrunner is standing head and shoulders above the other contenders. I do want to say there were a lot of unique production designs this year that were not mentioned, and I'm not going to go into all of them, but I will say it is a real shame that we have never gotten an animated film nominated for Best Production Design, and Wolfwalkers was one of the most beautiful animated films in years, and I know that there was no actual set built and all that, but can we just give an award to a movie for looking this good? Come on. With that out of the way, let's talk about the films that actually are nominated. Starting with fifth most likely to win, Tenet. Now, even though I tried to see a lot of movies this year, I couldn't see everything. And Tenet, which you think would be a big in-demand movie for me, I didn't get around to seeing. I never got the screener for it, and I didn't want to risk seeing it in the theater. So it is coming on HBO Max after the Oscars. So hopefully they'll be riding the wave of a visual effects win if that happens. But I don't know. It seems like a weird strategy to me. But getting back on topic, having not seen the film, just seeing still images and trailers and stuff like that, this nomination does seem really odd to me. Like, the film looks good, but it looks like very modern sets, very buildings that you would see in ordinary life. I don't get where the production design came in, but I'm sure if I were to see the film, I would understand it. There's probably something that I'm just not getting that's not coming through in the photographs, and I don't want to sound hypocritical because there's another movie that I'm going to mention later that's also contemporary and also doesn't look like much from photos, but when you see the movie, it makes sense. With that being said, I don't think Tenet's going to win for the simple reason that it's a movie that, first of all, is not that well responded to in general, but also who's seen it? The screeners. The screener, it's having problems with screeners, and I didn't get a screener. A lot of people didn't get a screener. We were hearing issues that Warner Brothers was having a lot of beef with Christopher Nolan because Christopher Nolan tried to release the movie in theaters, and then lost money, and then like there's a whole thing. But basically, Warner Brothers is mad at him, and they didn't release screeners for Tenet, and very few people got screeners. So yeah, I think that this is number five on the sheer value of not enough people are seeing the film, and not enough people have incentive to see the film, and the production design does not seem like an element that stands out from what I can see. But for all those reasons, Tenet is my number five. Fourth most likely to win is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Now, this is an interesting one because Gold Derby ranks this movie number two. And I do, to an extent, understand why. The sets are very well done. The thing that bothers me, the thing that makes me think it's not going to win, is because it is, while the sets look good, they're also very limited. There's only a couple of, the vast majority of this movie takes place in 2 rooms. And they look nice, but they also look kind of cheap, but they're kind of supposed to. They're old, like, not the best quality rooms, but they're designed very well. But here's the thing. This movie does not have a lot of passion, as became very evident when the nominations were announced. It was expected to be nominated for picture and screenplay, and it missed out on both of them. And so I don't think it has a lot of momentum here. The sets for this movie look nice, but they're not extravagant. They're not super flashy like some of the other nominees here. And so I find it very hard to believe that this movie is going to win. I don't know. I feel like movies that win this category are either really flashy or really beloved all across the board. and Ma Rainey's neither. So that's why it's my number four. Quick little update. I do just want to add in here. The production designer of Tenet is Nathan Crowley, who has done a lot of Christopher Nolan films, including The Dark Knight and Dunkirk. This is his sixth nomination. He has yet to win. Also, Ma Rainey, production designer Mark Ricker. This is his first nomination, although he has done high-profile films such as The Help and Trumbo. With that out of the way, third most likely to win is The Father. Production design by Peter Francis, who does not have a lot to his name. First nomination. And this is the other movie I was talking about earlier, where if you haven't seen the movie and you just see the trailer and the still pictures, you're probably thinking, how on earth did this get nominated? It's just a guy's apartment or flat. Here's the thing. The movie is told from the perspective of a man who is suffering from dementia, and the film puts you in his perspective, and everything around him is constantly changing. And that includes the apartment. But it's very subtle, so you'll be watching the movie going, wait, was the wallpaper always that color? Was there always a table there? You're never quite sure, and it's done subtly and gradually, and by the time we get to the end, the entire space has completely transformed, and by the time you've noticed it, it's too late. Like, it's incredibly subtle work, and it's very well done, and it enriches the storytelling. So that's why it got nominated. In terms of a win, I think people will vote for it, but it is subtle, and it is not the type of work that is usually rewarded in this category. Also, as I said earlier, this production designer does not have a lot to his name, so there's no desire to reward him. I think this could certainly get votes due to the creativity and the subtlety behind the production design, but I just don't see it winning. It getting a nomination was the big surprise. I did not think that was going to happen. So kudos to them for getting nominated, but I don't think this can pull off the win. Second most likely to win is News of the World. So this movie, the production designer David Crank, who this is his first nomination. He previously worked on films like The Master and Knives Out. And it kind of surprised me that this film contended in the way that it did, because it's a very good-looking film. It surprises me because it's a film where most of it takes place outdoors, so there's not a ton of sets, at least initially. But when I thought back on it, there are a lot of Western towns that we see at various interludes in the film, and those towns had to be built from scratch. And then they talked a lot about how the work that they did in building these sets up, and it is very good work. It's production design that you don't really pay attention to. You just sort of assume, it's a Western town, but a lot of hard work did go into it. And the fact that it's my number two, honestly, none of the films that I've mentioned so far genuinely feel like they could win this category. And I think that's not to say that there's not a lot of hard work that went into them, but none of them feel like a winner. And I don't know if that's just because of the overwhelming lead that the number one has, but I don't know. If the number one wasn't here, I guess I would probably go for News of the World because it's very impressive work, and even though a lot of the film does take place outdoors and we don't see these sets, when we do see them, they're very impressive, and they are. I don't know. I don't know what would be winning this category. Honestly, maybe if Emma were nominated, maybe that would be in contention to win, but Emma's not nominated, and the number one most likely to win film is Mank. Production design by Donald Graham Burt. This film is the most nominated movie of the night, most nominated movie this year. And even though people are split on certain elements of the movie, I think everybody can agree this production design is pretty incredible. because it's recreating a bygone era of Hollywood, and it's doing it really spectacularly. And even though there are a lot of CGI set extensions that blend in so perfectly, it really does feel like you've stepped back in time, or like you're watching an old, undiscovered movie from years and years in the past. It is very well done work, and it's flashy work. And the Academy, if there's one thing the Academy loves in this category in particular, it's movies about old Hollywood. Because they gave this award to La La Land and they gave it to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. They love movies about Hollywood. They didn't give it to The Artist, but Hugo was a very flashy production design that year. And I think not only is Mank flashy and about old Hollywood and in black and white with old film sets and recreating specific locations and areas reminiscent of A Citizen Kane, a famous film, but on top of that, there's honestly not a lot of competition this year. Maybe if Emma were nominated, it would be a different story, but it's not. It's honestly, this is a pretty cut and dry category. If anything other than Mank were to win, it would be shocking, and so it really doesn't matter what order you put 2 through 5 in, to me. The Academy has done shocking things before, but expect shocking things to happen in a different category. Not this one. This one is really sewn up. The longer I talk, the more I jinx myself, I'm sure. But Mank is my prediction, and it is the smart choice, and that is all I will say about that. So tune in tomorrow where I will be talking about Best International Feature. See you then.